Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I'm checking in with you on this Wednesday, February 11th. I'm taping in the morning about 9 o'clock in the morning. Man, oh man, do we have, every day is something else, right? Yesterday, how about Lutnick got in some serious hot water? And now today we got Pam Bondi lined up, right? Yeah, the lies are continuing to be exposed. I'm going to take a look, you all. I know, talking about impeachments and removals and all of that, who knows? But there will be repercussions, legal repercussions around this. And I'm wondering, I'm going to take a look and see if ultimately I get the sense that what Congress is doing is getting all of this on the record with people like Lutnick, Bondi, Patel is not far behind. Hegseth has been, we ain't heard too much here lately, but I have a feeling it won't be long, especially because we're starting to hear some things about Trump ratcheting up on, trying to do some nuclear testing. Gonna go in that direction a little bit later. I feel like that's a stress level that I'm not ready to go to spirit on today. but we're gonna take a look at that. But anyway, I think that's when we're gonna see some stuff around Hegseth coming up again. But gonna take a look at that. Also, you all, dare we hope for some sort of signs of life in terms of bipartisanship in Congress, right? Mike Johnson did not do his job and is losing, slipping by the day in regards to tariffs. We have some GOP members of Congress who are starting to come on over to step into the light, y'all, step into the light. and saying no, we have the power of the purse, or so we always thought, right? And so these tariffs, I read something, I don't know about what you all have seen, but I saw that, estimates, and we know a lot of this is guesstimates, $1,000 a year on average per household since last year has been spent because of the tariffs, right? That it's cost, by and large, at least $1,000 per household in the United States as a result of these tariffs that went into effect last year. So, like, no, not when we're in this critical election year, right? So the GOP is starting to come on through, right? We got Bacon and some others that are joining Massey and Kana, and we got Adam Schiff out there talking his talk still. There's a lot of momentum. So I want to take a look at that because Trump is just losing it. He's losing his grip. He's losing his grip on, health wise. We've seen that for quite some time. And I'm being led. Is he still gonna be here after February? I'm gonna go ahead. We hadn't planned on that, but Spirit just hit me with it. Is Frump going to still be among us by the end of this month? There's been so much talk, as many of you who, especially if you follow astrology, have known that around this eclipse on the 17th next week, many astrologers who follow his chart, Trump's chart, have said he's in bad shape. He's in really, really bad shape. Spirit, is he going to make it through the month? Is he going to make it through the month? Three of Pentacles and the Emperor, that's him. I think so. And I'm wondering if that's a timing element, like maybe 3 months. I want to go a little deeper on it. Spirit, you know who I mean by Trump, will he still be among us in the next 3 months? Queen of Swords. Page of Pentacles. Four of Cups. I'll show it to you. And the Eight of Wands. I have a sense that taken together, the energy's not strong enough. I would have pulled a lot more major arcana if it was going to be like the end. But with that Four of Cups and what else did we get? The Eight of Wands. So things are speeding up in terms of his continued debilitation. This Queen of Swords, I almost get the sense this might be Caroline Levitt continuing to spin, oh, everything's fine, he's fine. But the Page of Pentacles says it's slow. Um, there's new developments in his deterioration, but it's slow moving. She's gonna try and cover it up, but at the same time, this Eight of Wands feels like, there's two factions going on. Eight of Wands moves quickly, Pentacles tends to move slow. So I wonder if, taken together, what Spirit is saying is there's something that has been building in him, in his system, slowly over all these months, since last year especially, that is going to start to speed up, and it's going to put more pressure. I do feel like this is Caroline Levitt. It's going to put more pressure on her to cover for him. But that Three of Pentacles also feels like, is this showing us that he's making more and more frequent visits to his physicians to treat whatever the star? Okay. There is our major arcana and our confirmation. But again, the star is not like the Tower. It doesn't, things don't happen just like that. So I think that this is still a progressive doom, 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 right? Time, tick tock, the clock is ticking. But I don't see, we've been seeing a lot in some of the reports astrologically that we might see something like boom, like major. I'm not getting that energy right now. I feel like it's still on track. But I don't know that it's going to happen within the next week or so. All right. All right, but on to now that Spirit had me go there, and also I just looked in the background and saw my little sign. I made it darker. Thank you, so many of you who were like, "Girl, don't be stressing. Your little handwritten sign is fine." But I also want to thank many of you who have emailed me and made little signs. I don't have a printer. When I go to Kinko's or Office Depot or something, I might get something a little fancier in the future. But I appreciate you so very much. And a couple of other things real quick before I get back to the reading. Remember, I have the Practical Magic Using Tarot class coming up this Sunday, the 15th at 2 p.m. Eastern. It'll be recorded if you can't attend it live via Zoom. But even if you don't read tarot, you all, this class, the way that I'm doing it, it's not about reading tarot. It's about using the archetypes of tarot in a way that you can amplify your manifestations by relating to them and by using them astrologically and otherwise to see yourself in those archetypes, because that's why tarot is so powerful. It is a representation of the human experience. We all are reflected in these cards. So gonna have a lot of fun with it. I'd love to have you there. It's only $36. And again, you'll get the recording so you can go back and refer to it, and you don't have to technically read tarot. You don't even have to have a deck necessarily. You just need to have access to the internet where you can look up and study these archetypes and then take the teaching that I do and use them for your manifestations, for your spiritual development, etc. So I'm really excited about it, and I'd love to have you there. Thank you so much to many of you who have already signed up. I'm looking forward to seeing you there. And the last announcement that I have is, I talked about this before, but I am an affiliate with Otter Spirit. I love the fact that many of you already knew about the company. They are amazing. They're out of the Bay Area. They are into otter spirit. So they're into preservation of otters, sea otters, and a part of their proceeds go to protect them. And also what I'm loving about them, I actually got a necklace, a citrine necklace as well. So they have necklaces and what I'm calling, they have these packs, because many of us who use crystals, we know individually what certain gemstones do, what kind of energies they offer us. But what Otter Spirit does as well, which is kind of cool, they sell packs, like 3 packs, where you don't have to do the guesswork of what gemstones work well with others to amplify love, money, health, many other things that we wear gemstones for. So they've done that for you. They put the packs together, and so it takes the guesswork out of it. When you get it, it's been energized. They source very well. I don't play about my sourcing. Like, every gemstone is not created equal, right? You get some fake stuff out there. So I can tell you, and I don't sell a lot. I don't push a lot of stuff. This is the only company that I'm affiliated with. And it may remain that way. But if you do decide to order from them, I'm going to put information in the link below, and you'll get a discount with using my affiliate link. You'll get a discount, and it helps me. All right. So enough of that. Let's get into some stuff here. Epstein files. We're learning now that the unredacted files have been turned over to Congress, that there are millions of mentions of Trump's name. Among them also, and I'm wondering if Congress, I want to see if Congress is going to call him, because just as we are learning that Lutnick had to, he got caught red-handed. Bondi gonna be really interesting. She's gonna be defiant. I don't even have to read on this. We know she's gonna be defiant. She's gonna toe the line, whatever. But there will be exposure there. She goes way back in this, right? Back when she was Attorney General in Florida. So there is no place to hide, is what Spirit is saying. There's no place to hide. However, we're also learning that right after Epstein's death in 2019, a former Palm Beach he was the police chief in Palm Beach, was on the record with the FBI saying that he had had a conversation with Trump back, I think, in 2006, where Trump openly admitted to knowing what Epstein was up to, and knowing and calling him a creep, and I'm so glad he's really in trouble now because he shouldn't have been doing all of this. I am wondering, now that we're seeing all of these people caught in their lies, this web of lies, if in fact this latest revelation, because this is a part of the new batch that has been released, this FBI report of this former Palm Beach police chief, Spirit, are they going to bring him in to testify? Is there going to be more made of that, so that there's the moon, revelations, illumination, things coming to light, the Page of Wands. There's certainly some movement around it, and the story that has broken it. I learned about it through the New York Times. The story that has broken around this former police chief saying, "No, wait a minute. We had a long conversation about this, and he owned up to what he knew, contrary to what he has said subsequently." Right? Didn't know a thing, or I kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago, and there's the sun. Don't be surprised if Congress, as they continue to pursue this situation and these revelations continue to come to light, don't be surprised if this sheriff, I keep saying sheriff, I'm sorry, you all, former police chief in Palm Beach, he may be called to testify, right? Because here's the thing, he's already gone on the record with the FBI. It's a part of the files. It's there. So there's why would he come back out and say, "Oh no, that's all a mistake." He can't, he's already on the record. But also because as they continue to pull people in, and notice he backed up off of that Clinton thing from what we understood, right? Trump, he said, "Okay, well, never mind. You don't have to worry about the Clintons," because they were getting ready to play for keeps. So he what we're hearing now is Trump is telling them, "Nah, don't worry so much about that," right? But the point is, as more people are called to testify, and recognizing that they cannot control that testimony. What Ghislaine Maxwell did, pleading the fifth and saying basically, unless you give me clemency, I'm not saying a word. Nobody was surprised by that. But there are others who will hold to what they have previously said. And I'm thinking what we're seeing here in that Sun card especially, don't be surprised if you see Congress start to pull in people who are reflected in those files to bring them in front of Congress as well, so that the continued proof that there are those ties there. 1,000,000 times you were mentioned so far, because remember, they still haven't gone through all of the documents, right? Congress still has not been, they put it on, what was it? And only 3 million of what we're hearing there's still more documents, but put them on 4 computers and we're like, you can come in and take some notes. Like they're still trying to, parse it out and make sure they can only get so much information at a time. But we're seeing this play out. Rokana, Masi, and others, they are not going to let this go. We will continue to learn more. And I think Congress as a body is going to start to pull in more and more people who will testify to the truth of the matter. All right. Governors talking about bipartisanship. So we have tariffs where the House, some GOP folks have crossed over with the Dems into the light and said, we're not, we got to do better about this tariff situation, and giving him complete power over imposing tariffs, not doing that anymore. So that's happening, bipartisanship. Second thing that we saw was the Governors Association, the National Governors Association, right? When Trump disinvited Wes Moore out of Maryland, only black governor in the country. We all, we know that. But also his position. He's in the vice chair of the National Governors Association, right? And the chair, who is a Republican, if I'm not mistaken, has backed Westmore up, and they started this coalition. And so initially it was just Democratic governors across the country said, okay, then we're not going to meet with him. We will all band together. But now we understand that the whole body has said we're not going to do that, right? Here's my question. Is that an indication, bipartisanship? We know that this administration is going after voter data, which is so far the courts are holding up. We understand Michigan just said, nope, not doing it. Some other states have said, nope, we're not furnishing it. The courts are holding firm on that. There's no valid reason for it. But I'm wondering because from what I understand, the National Governors Association is still holding their meeting in DC, I think on the 20th of this month, later this month. They've just said, if you don't let us all come then we won't meet with you. But the meeting is still going forward. I'm wondering, in the wake of this solidarity, if there's going to be a plan hatched around collectively governors across the states, red and blue, protecting voter data and making some plans around the polls in November for the midterms, right? Because it's all about what we know, this subversion of the elections. That's the plan. Spirit are the National Governors Association, is there going to be a bipartisan effort to collectively protect the vote, protect the midterms, and protect voters' data? Are we going to see a genuine unified effort among the states? The King of Pentacles, I wonder if that's, and the Three of Wands, I'm being told don't ignore that. King of Pentacles, I'm wondering if that is, in fact, I'm sorry, you all, please somebody put it in the comments. I know it's a Republican. Is it out of Nebraska? I can't remember. But that's whoever the head, the chair of the Governors Association, that's him. And this building, Three of Wands. There may be a subset or a subcommittee that is formed out of the governor's meeting, the association's meeting later this month, to address that issue, protecting the state's voter data and protecting the polls, protecting the electoral process. Six of Cups, reviewing, this is a review of how, because different states have different processes, right? This is going to be a review of that. Here's how we do it. Let's see how you do it, and collectively coming up with some sort of unified approach. The Hangman. I love that, actually. There's going to be some discussions around how both the commonalities and the differences between the states and how voter data is collected and protected. How which states are using which voter machines or written ballots. There's a review of that. With that Three of Wands, there's going to be, I feel like there's some sort of subcommittee or something that forms out of the Governors Association to come together and review how things are being done. And as a result, how can we do it better? The Hangman isn't like sitting on it. It's saying, how can we do it better? This is a review. This is a take stock so that we can make sure that our votes, regardless of party affiliation, that our votes are protected. Page of Pentacles shows up. That's methodical. I also feel like there's going to be a lot of conversation around paper ballots. Mail-in balloting, we know they've been trying to, put a stop to that. But that is a huge part of how and the Nine of Cups, what the people really want, the will of the people. to protect their vote and their voter and their data and the Empress. There's something here around, I don't know what I'm getting. Who are the recent governors? Mikey Sherrill, and others. Gretchen, Gretchen Whitmer. We know she's on her way out, term limited in Michigan, but there's a force there within the Governors Association. There's a force there to protect the vote, and there's a collaboration there. And remember, the Empress also represents creativity, something that is being created, something that is I just go back to a new body or a new committee or something there. But because they were put in this position by Trump of having to unify, and they decided to do it. The Republican governors said, okay, you know what? We are a body. We are a national body, and we will stand together. This is going to promote or prompt something new that they hadn't necessarily thought about doing before. And here comes the emperor on the heels of the empress, you all. Okay? So taking charge, leadership in a new way, that hangman in a new way, something they haven't done before, haven't had to do before, right? Protecting their data across the nation, protecting polls with the threat of, border patrol and ICE agents and whatever being sent to intimidate voters at the polls. They're coming together to resist that. I love it. All right. Petty read. I was prepared to get on here. All right. And I got taken in, y'all. I try to avoid the conspiracy stuff, but this one was a little juicy and my little eyes popped open. I ran across a few things on social media where there was some questions being raised around Ericka Kirk and whether or not she had in fact been written out of, not written out of, but kind of sort of written out of Charlie's will, and that he left his estate to the children because he had some concerns and ideas about what may have been happening between her and JD. We all go back to, we saw what we saw with that head stroke. And so there was these questions about, did he know? Did Charlie know? Or did he suspect something? And did he, in fact, write her out of the will? I did a little research and found out that apparently that rumor has been debunked. But I am going to ask, did he suspect something? Because the timing of JD being really hot on the scene, again, allegedly, supposedly, who knows, right? But JD being really hot on the scene right in the aftermath of Charlie's demise, there was too much. There was a whole lot of there, right? All right, we have the Seven of Cups, death. All right, this was his demise. Queen of Pentacles, I'm not going to ignore it. That's her. Ten of Pentacles, I'm not going to ignore it. That's the estate. That was the money from the estate. The Queen of Pentacles, that's Ericka Kirk. This is death, is of course Charlie's demise. And the Seven of Cups. Spirit, did Charlie Kirk suspect something? Was he suspicious of Vance, or uncomfortable by Vance and the relationship with Vance? Ten of Swords, he wasn't a fan of it. Ten of Swords and the Three of Pentacles. But he had to work with them. He knew he had to work with them. The King of Wands, that was his essence. Because remember, we know that Charlie was on the way up. Like he very well, at some point, could have been a Republican presidential contender. And of course, that would have set him on a collision course with JD. Three of Pentacles, though, that's working together collaboratively, or pretending to, or feeling the need to, at least publicly. And the Knight of Cups. I don't think so, you all. I really do think this is kind of, petty boots, rumor mill. No, I don't think that Charlie suspected it, but I think that to the extent that he had real concerns about JD, it was more along the lines of knowing what his aspirations, his political aspirations were, Charlie's, and knowing that clearly JD was going to try to stand in the way of that. It was more of a political situation than a personal wondering. Yeah, Knight of Swords. He was trying to figure out how to on the surface at least work with Vance and utilize Vance's voice, and keep that relationship going. But I'm not even seeing a lot of feminine energy here to indicate that he thought that there was some real shenanigans going on with her. High Priestess does come, however, I think there's more on the back end of his demise, of Charlie's demise. I think that's there's more to it in terms of now what Ericka's doing playing out. We know she's been hanging out at Mar-a-Lago. We know that Turning Point, hey, if it's going to continue to be a successful organization, she's got to try and stay in the mix. So I think that's what the High Priestess is about as well. There is this aspect of what has been done, behind the scenes. How salacious that might be, there's a question mark around that. And I won't, we don't even need to waste our energy going into that. But man, I was like, what? He wrote her out the will. The rumors were he had hired a private investigator. I got sucked in for a minute, y'all. I'm just being honest. I got sucked in for a minute, but I don't think there's some there. We saw it with our own eyes when they met on that stage, but it ain't there all the way there. Okay. All right, you all. And the last thing I wanted to take a look at today is how about now we're learning that the UN Secretary General has come out and said there's a real problem here. That apparently all of last year, the United States has not paid any of its dues to the United Nations. And it's the largest dues payer, right? $4 billion is owed for the operational budget of the United Nations. Other nations, the payments were due, I think, February 8th, and other nations around in the UN have paid up. Venezuela has not. Surprise, surprise, wonder why. And the U.S. has not. So we hear that Trump is making some sort of, hemming and hawing. Well, we shouldn't have to pay so much anyway, and we've been taking advantage of the usual standard line. My question going to Spirit, you all, is there some? We talked about, NATO, pulling out of NATO, and his resistance to that. Now this border peace, was that his attempt to, sort of diminish NATO? But also, is he going to pay up? Is the U.S. going to wind up getting kicked out of the UN, right? All right, let's look at that, Spirit. Will this administration pay due? Ooh, what's dropped? The Knight of Wands and the Page of Wands. That's the pressure. That's the fact that this is being made, so public right now, and the UN Secretary General is coming out and like, hey, you owe $4 billion. That's no chump change if in our operational budget. That's what that Wands is about. King of Swords. I think this is the Secretary General coming out publicly, making his remarks, appealing. He wrote a letter, from what we understand, to all of the participating nations. The Four of Swords. Where do we go from here? This almost feels like there's almost an expectation that at this point, because of how Trump operates, he may renege. Or he may pay, some pennies on the dollar just to say he didn't renege, but not what is owed. $4 billion. And the Queen of Wands. Three of Swords. That's someone prominent. A country headed by a female. What's her name out of Italy? Meloni? I don't know why she's coming to mind. But there's someone prominent in the UN feminine who is going to express the dangers of that Three of Swords, the dangers of allowing the UN to be diminished, especially in this moment in time, right? Seven of Pentacles, where else or how else can the UN remain operational with a diminished budget if in fact he doesn't pay up? Spirit, will the US remain a dominant force within the United Nations? Will the US remain a force? Four of Cups, ooh, it's shaky. Because he doesn't care about it. He genuinely feels like it's, why give them $4 billion when we can use that on something else. Use it on the ballroom, right? And the Two of Cups. This feels like he may give something. It ain't gonna be the 4 billion. And Judgment, yeah. He's going to, I think he's going to get some pressure politically. This is not the year to absolutely cause, or contribute to the demise of the UN, because that's going to be a struggle for them. If the US, right, the US was, one of the major contributors or the major contributor to their operational budget, that's not going to be a good look. That's not going to be a good look. So I think we're going to see him have to come up with something. But, there again, Spirit is saying, there again is another instance of the cleanup that's going to have to be done when this administration is dealt with. And also the cleanup that will be done once the House is flipped back over. And very potentially the Senate, we're seeing, right? With all these mass resignations by the GOP, which Spirit said last year, right? And I know it's frustrating, like the timing of all that. We're like, can we just get it done already? But the encouraging thing is surely every piece that we have seen in our spiritual readings, my channel, many others, over the years, Spirit said last year there were going to be mass GOP defections, whether that was people resigning, whether that was, through whatever means, that we were going to see a lot of defections. We got old Mitch McConnell hanging on by a string over there, and Andy Bashir, eyes open, right? And being more vocal lately as well. I've been seeing him crop up on the news quite a bit. So things are happening, y'all. Things are happening. I appreciate you. Please, feel free to participate in the comments. I just ask that always that we be respectful to one another. I am so happy to be here with you and the exchanges. Thank you for the hypes, trying to grow the channel, trying to keep delivering some good content out there, and your support really does mean everything. All right. So that said, let's keep it going. Let's see what happens. I'll be back with you on Friday. Let's see how Bondi manages to wiggle through this one. It's going to be interesting for sure. All right, take good care. Remember, chin up, shoulders back. All right, got to. We're too far in. There's no going back. And sky above us, earth beneath us, grounding us, holding us, right? And our souls within us, infinite, always strong. All right, I'll talk to you real soon. Be good. Bye.